Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome back to the Slang of Ages podcast. I'm your host, Preston Frazier. And on this very special episode, the penultimate episode of season 9, we're going to be discussing the 1988 album by Rodney Crowell called Street Language. If you're new to the podcast is about my favorite albums in my record collection. Almost every album we review, I have either on vinyl or CD or actually cassette tape. This is one that I have on all three of those formats. I want, before we start, to thank my Patreon executive producers, Cynthia Tom, Benicio Cifuentes, and Cheryl Frazier. They've supported the podcast from day one, and they're all members of Patreon. You can go over to patreon.com, look for Slave Ages Podcast, and join them as an executive producer. I think it's $2.99 a month. Also, you can also check out my website at www.slangofages.com, where I have all my articles and reviews, as well as some videos of the podcast. And you can go over to YouTube, and please like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to build my YouTube base, so make sure you go over there and do that as well. So let's get started. This is the next to last episode of season 9. This is episode number 11. We're going to start season 10 in the fall of 2026. I'm taking the summer off and doing some traveling, so I'm happy about that. And also, I'll be talking probably in a special edition about my new book, which is going to be out very soon. So keep an eye on that and make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more information. Now, this album is one of my favorites, obviously, because it's on the podcast, by one of my favorite artists, Rodney Crowell. Some of you may know Rodney Crowell because he is a world famous, accomplished writer and producer in country music, but he has had a stellar career, a stellar and varied career. He has released a whole bunch of albums. He's still releasing albums as we speak. His newest album is about to come out on, I think, the summer of this year. So he's had a great career, and he's had some really great successes in terms of his own work, but he's worked with a number of fantastic country artists, such as his ex-wife, Roseanne Cash, and of course, the wonderful Emmylou Harris. He was a member of Emmylou's Hot Band, which was a band which included the wonderful Albert Lee on guitar and included Rodney on guitar, along with, I think it was Eddie Bayer on drums. And the band was fantastic. And a lot of those people have had really successful solo careers as well. Rodney was one of those artists who was often seen as a sideman and a man behind the console, but he has had a solo career starting with 1978's Ain't Living Long Like That. And then 1980, we had But What Will the Neighbors Think? 1981, Rodney Crowell. This is his 1986 album. I think I said 88, but it's 1986. Street Language. In 1988, Diamonds and Dirt. 1989, Keys to the Highway. 1992, Life is Messy. 1994, Let the Picture Paint the Story. Sorry, Let the Picture Paint Itself. 1999, 1995 rather, Jewel of the South. 2001, The Houston Kid. 2003, Fate's Right Hand. 2005, The Outsider. 2008, Sex and Gasoline. 2012, Ken Songs by Mary Carr and Rodney Crowell. 2013, Old Yellow Moon with Emmylou Harris. 2014, Tar Paper Sky. 2015, The Traveling Kind, also with Emmylou Harris. 2017, Close Ties. 2018, Classic Acoustic Classics, a Christmas album in 2018 also. Texas in 2019, Triage in 2021, The Chicago Sessions, which is another great album, 2023, produced by Jeff Twilley of Wilco. And then 2025, The Airline Highway. So a lot of solo albums, 17 in all, no live albums, and one greatest hits album as well. But we're here to talk about Street Language. which most of the critics did not particularly love. And I can understand why, because it was a break from Rodney Crowell's past. At the time, Rodney Crowell was recording with, I believe it was Warner Brothers, and he submitted a album which they thought was a little bit out of what he usually did, and a total diversion for 2020 2081's Rodney Crowell album. The problem was that Warner Brothers thought that the album was too rock. It wouldn't sell country, which was Rodney Crowell's base, and they wanted him to redo the album. They rejected the album, wanted to redo it. So instead of submitting the album to Warner's as it was, Rodney decided to buy out the album, buy out his contract with Warner Brothers, and he moved over to Columbia Records. So this is his first Columbia Records released. And Rodney, known as being an accomplished producer, like I mentioned, Emmylou Harris, his wife, then wife, Roseanne Cash, among others, he decided that he wanted to bring in a co-producer for this album, and he brought in the wonderful Booker T. Jones. Of course, you know Booker T from Booker T and the MGs. He's worked with Bob Dylan. He's worked with a number of great musicians, and he is really, I think he is the last remaining original member alive of Booker T and the MGs. Steve Cropper recently passed. Duncan Dunn died probably 10 years ago. And Al Jackson, the original drummer, died quite some time ago. So he wanted a rock album. He wanted to have some country flair in the album, but he also wanted to have some R&B. And Rodney came in with a group of songs, which he and Booker T demoed, and then they decided, yeah, this is going to be a good opportunity for us to really ratchet things up in terms of the sound that Rodney Crowell was getting. So, Street Language, which I have here, a vinyl copy, came out. Wonderful album, and it starts on an unusual note for Rodney Crowell, and that the first song, called "Let Freedom Ring," is a outright rocker. It is co-written by Keith Sykes, which is a Nashville area writer and guitarist. And Rodney Crowell brought in an amazing group of musicians, him and Booker T, to play on this album. So I'm going to go through some of the players song by song, but on "Let Freedom Ring," the lead guitarist is Stuart Smith. And you may know Stuart Smith, W. Stuart Smith. He's a guitarist originally from Silver Spring, Maryland. And he was with the Eagles for about 30 years after Don Felder was fired. He was a major contributor to the last Eagles album, Long Road Out of Eden. I think he co-wrote 4 of the songs with Henley. Amazing guitarist, very soft-spoken. It's hard to find stuff about Stuart Smith on the internet, actually, because he doesn't have a website. He doesn't have any solo albums, but he's an amazing guitarist, and it has a unique style with combination of finger picking, thumb picking with a thumb pick, and really gets great sound from his guitar. So he was the lead guitarist on "Let Freedom Ring," which is a outright rocker. And um, for the drums, he had Anton Fig, who's a renowned New York player, Michael Rhodes, who died, I think, earlier this year, 2026, who's an amazing bass player, worked with a lot of people in Nashville, as well as Steve Winwood. And he also had a number of horn players on this album, which were on this song, which were called the Uptown Horn Players. So he went for broke with the first song, "Let Freedom Ring," which was not released as a single, but is still one of my favorite songs on the album. No, I'm actually wrong about that. "Let Freedom Ring" was the first single from the album. It did not chart on the country charts or on the pop charts, but it was a great song and a great feel to the song. And also, I mean, Crowell is known as a producer, but I mentioned to you that he's also an accomplished writer. You may remember the song "Shame on the Moon" by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, which was one of Rodney Crowell's most popular songs. And Seger made that song a big hit. I think it was Bob Seger's biggest hit. So "Let Freedom Ring" kicks things off. And the lyrics start with, "Well, she's the kind of woman that you just can't find, burning up the corners on the borderline She's got hidden acres underneath her sleeves, and she can take you where places that you won't believe. And it has such a fast cadence to it, and that growling guitar by Smith, and wonderful, wonderful licks by Smith as well, and a great vocal. One thing that Crowell focused on in this album was having less of a Nashville twang, and Crowell's right, originally from Texas actually, but having less of a Nashville twang and more of a growl to his voice, and it comes out on this album. So absolutely wonderful start to things, and it goes into another rocker. This song is called "The Ballad of Fast Eddie." And Crowell co-wrote the Ballad of Fast Eddie with bass player Emery Gordy Jr. And I believe Emery was also one of the members of Emmylou Harris's hot band when Crowell was there. Another amazing player. And the Ballad of Fast Eddie is another song which is out of what you would expect from Rodney Crowell. This one features David Lindley on guitar. He plays this really staccato, melodic Lindley type riffs on electric guitar. No slide here. On lead guitar, though, he brings in guitar phenom Eric Johnson, who handles this fantastic flowing lead guitar, and it just rocks at a medium pace. Of course, Crowell handles the vocals, and he brings in Bob Glaub from LA on bass. Booker T handles the grand piano, and Michael Baird on drums. Michael Baird, you may remember, was the touring drummer for Journey after they kicked out Steve Smith the first time. And I think it's Randy McCormick on the DX7 Yamaha DX7 synthesizer. So another strong song. This one also features a horn section, most notably Jim Horn on tenor saxophone. Another fantastic song, another strong song, and this was not released as a single. And this one actually rocks more than um, Let Freedom Ring. It just Eric Johnson's an amazing guitarist, and it works really well. Now, Crowd's vocals are interesting. He uses his lower range for the verses, his higher range for the chorus, and he spits out the lyric almost in a Bob Dylan type cadence. So great second song, and then we move into something you may more expect from Rodney Crowell. The next song is "When I'm Free Again," and this song is definitely in a country vein. Rodney Crowell has a great voice for this. It's one which he actually co-wrote with the great, late great Will Jennings. Now, you know Will Jennings, have heard his songs. He co-wrote Tears in Heaven with Eric Clapton. He's co-wrote or co-written most of the big hits that Steve Winwood has had. He's co-written with a whole bunch of people. And this one it's sorrowful, it is contemplative, and it may have been actually a prelude because before this album was released, when this album was released, Rodney Crowell and Roseanne Cash was married, and they broke up kind of soon after this album came out. So this was around the time when Roseanne was writing songs for her Interiors album, which I covered in season one of the Slang of Ages podcast. So we'll check that out. Anyway, the lyrics are: I used to take all night for a woman and a song. I can't remember when I used to be that strong. Girl, I'm thankful for the world you let me see. It's a good life, but it's just not right for me. When I'm free again, I'll be out there being me again. I'll be out there where the nights roll on, singing some lonely song that I've been holding back so long. And I'll be me again when I'm free again. So really touching lyrics, tear-jerking lyrics, crying in your beer song kind of lyrics, and also lyrics that you'd expect from a country artist. Now, this one features Vince Gill on electric lead guitar. Vince Gill and Rodney Crowell have been playing together for years, and Rodney's written some songs for Vince. It features Billy Joe Walker on acoustic guitar. You may remember me talking about Billy Joe Walker when I talked about J.D. Souther's Home by Dawn album. So some connection there. Richard Bennett on acoustic guitar. Richard Bennett, a longtime member of Mark Knopfler's band for maybe 30 years. Booker T on Hammond on Yamaha DX7, and Michael Rhodes on drums with Michael Rhodes on bass with Eddie Bear on drums. So a wonderful, wonderful song. Also, some pedal steel by Hank DeVito, an amazing Nashville player who's still out there on pedal steel guitar. And that's a great, great country song, but it is a good crying in your beer song. Then it leads into a rocker, another rocker. But this song is unusual in that the song She Loves the Jerk was written by John Hyatt. It's very rare that Rodney Crowell covers other people's songs, but he loved this song and he decided, yeah, why not cover a John Hyatt song? And Hyatt and Crowell have a long history as well. And the song is it is beautiful. It's a wonderful song. But there aren't many bad John Hyatt songs. And actually, She Loves a Jerk was his third single from the album. It reached number 71 on the country charts. When I'm Free Again, the prior song, reached number 38 on the country charts. So he did have some country chart success on this album. In fact, the album reached 38 also on the country charts, album charts, but not pop success. None of these songs charted on the pop charts. The album only reached 177 on the pop charts. Still, this song is just that's a great song. She Loved the Jerks, which was on Hyatt's, I believe it was Riding with the King album, has a great feel to it. And Crowell again rejects his country voice and he sings in a really powerful rock timbre for this album and for the song, and it really works. The lyrics are, we talk this to death, crying on the telephone, nights when you drink at home. She has to whisper through her tears. Johnny, she said, you'll never do these things to me, but I can never make her see she's wasted such precious years. Well, you married the wrong guy is all I ever say. He's a no good so and so, but she'll never let him go. Though she knows it'll never work, she loves the jerk. She loves the jerk. Hyatt, and I don't think we've done any Hyatt albums on this podcast, but we'll get to, I think, one next season. It's just a great song. And Crowell sings his ass off. He goes for those high notes, and there's a payoff. Then we go to another Rodney Crowell original, and this song, I don't think it was a hit. I don't think it was released as a single, but uh, oh, I'm missing one. Let's go to this. We'll keep playing this song. The song is "Oh King Richard," which is actually a sixth song on the album, and "Oh King Richard" is a tribute to the great Richard Petty. It is a fantastic rock song. It has a great vocal by Crowell. It's a great tribute to him. And actually, this is the first song on side two. If you have the vinyl, it's the first song on side two, and features Dean Parks, the wonderful Dean Parks, session legend on lead guitar, Michael Rhodes on bass, Eddie Bear on drums, and Billy Joe Walker on electric guitar as well, with Rodney Crowell handling some acoustic guitar, Richard Bennett on acoustic guitar, and of course Booker T. Jones on Hammond B3 organ. And uh, it is an interesting tribute. It's a wonderful, well-written tribute. And the lyrics are, "Old King Richard, you rum runner's dream, the swiftest of outlaws that I've ever seen. Your checkered flag waving so high in esteem, and no one can catch you." So that's just talking about Richard and his history of being a bootlegger and becoming the king of NASCAR. Interesting song, interesting inclusion. good rocking song. Dean Parks really tears it up on guitar, and I just love Dean Parks playing. And Crowell's vocals are again fantastic. Now I'm going to go back to the last song on side one, and it's a shame I skipped over this one because I think it is my favorite song on the album. It may well be my favorite Rodney Crowell song, which is saying something because the song Rodney Crowell's written so many great songs. And this is also a song which was not released as a single, and also something which is unusual in Rodney Crowell's canon because it is Memphis R&B, Memphis rock, pure and simple. And as I mentioned, it was written solely by Rodney Crowell, even though it was co-produced with Booker T. Jones. And you can definitely hear the Booker T. Jones influence in the song. The song is "When the Blue Hour Comes." When the blue hour comes. And the lyrics read, "The good times are all gone. The night keeps coming on so strong, you can't hold on no matter what you do. Will there be someone who cares for you when the blue hour comes? When the blue hour comes." And when your restless heart tears your world apart and everything and everywhere you turn is falling down on you, will there be a light that shines for you when the blue hour comes for you? If there's anything that you would have me do, just call on me and I'll be coming through. I'll be there for you when the blue hour comes, when the blue hour comes. Now, this song features a number of musicians on it. Booker T on MG on Booker T Jones on Hammond B3 organ, obviously. Billy Joe Walker handling electric guitar. Richard Bennett on acoustic. Lead guitar by Rick DeFazio, who played with Roger Waters, who played with Bob Dylan. Michael Rhodes on bass, Eddie Bear on drums, synthesizer by Rob Padino, and Randy McCormick, who I also mentioned on J.D. Saliva's Home by Dawn album, who played piano, and a horn section led by the great Jim Horn. And the song just it hits you right in the heart. This is Crowell's best vocal on the album, maybe Crowell's best vocal ever. He's pleading, he's begging, and you feel his pain. And also the very soulful backing vocals by Vince Gill and Anthony Crawford, who is a renowned Nashville guitarist, mandolin player, I guess you call them, and singer. They work with a number of people outside Nashville, including Neil Young. So they go for broke here and they capture lightning in a bottle when the blue hour comes. Now let's go to side two. We've already talked about the kickoff song in side two, "Oh King Richard." We're going to get to the last single from the album. Like I mentioned, there were four singles: "Let Freedom Ring," "When I'm Free Again," "She Loves a Jerk." The next song is "Looking for You," which hit number 59 in the country charts, did not chart on the pop charts. And "Looking for You" was a co-write of Rodney Crowell with his then wife, Rosanne Cash. And this song is a mixture of country, adult contemporary. It has some nice adult contemporary feel to it. For example, it has this interesting drum program given to it by, I think it was Devin Coward on the drum programming. It features Randy McCormick on keyboards and synthesized bass, saxophone solo played by Jim Horn, and Eddie Bear on drums, Rodney Crowell on acoustic guitar, Billy Joe Walker on electric guitar. And Crowell sings his butt off on this. It is another song where he's going for broke. He doesn't bring in any backing singers, I don't believe. And it's just him and Roseanne Cash, when they did write songs together, and they wrote a few for her albums, and I think one or two for his albums. They worked so well. And this song, the first verse reads, "Walk the streets until my heart hit the ground. There's no relief whenever you're not around. I hit the taverns where we both used to go, but it don't help me when the night's moving slow and I'm looking for you. I searched the city for the girl I once knew. It's such a pity there ain't no one like you. I try to see my way to forget your name. I turn to strangers, but it's not the same. I'm just looking for you in the heart of this town, looking for you. You're nowhere around, looking for you in the still of the night, looking for you, but you're nowhere in sight. And there's a bridge. Horn does this beautiful, beautiful sax solo. Then the bridge is I can see you in the shadows. I can hear you when the wind blows. If it's all I ever do, I'll keep looking for you. And that's it. And that's the end of the song because that's all the lyrics of the song. But such great playing by Jim Horn, who's a fantastic player. There's been so many albums, and this vocal by Rodney Crowell just rips out your heart and tears it out. It's just, yeah, it's a great song. Another great song, and the last single, like I mentioned, from the album. The next song, track number 8, is "Stay." Don't be cruel. Another song written with guitars and vocalist Keith Sykes. It's probably the weakest song on the album, and that's saying something because it's not no weak songs on this album. There's so many great songs from this album, and this one is almost as done as a duet with Keith Sykes. It features Crowell and Booker T on production, Billy Joe Walker on electric guitar, and Kenny Greenberg on electric as well, with acoustic by Richard Bennett. Some fantastic organ work by Booker T. Jones, synthesizer by McCormick, and Larry London, the late great Larry London on drums. I mentioned Michael Baird being a drummer for Journey on one of the tours. I think it was a Raised on Radio tour. Larry London was the drummer who replaced Steve Smith on the album, though he did a tour of Journey. He was a legend. And then Michael Rose on bass. So great song, great backing vocals from Vince Gill again, with Vince Gill, not Gilligan, Vince Gill with Anthony Crawford. Then we go to more conventional country type songs. The Best That I Can. The Best That I Can was written with Hank DeVito, the legendary pedal steel player. And also Rodney Crowell co-wrote that with Hank DeVito, and Emery Gordon Jr. also co-wrote that song. And it's a good song. Like I said, every song on this album is good, but not everyone can be when the blue hour comes. And this, the best I can be is kind of upbeat. It's kind of country. The first verse reads, "Up every morning to the ding dong ding, make my whole heart just want to sing, sing, sing. Caught in the middle of a sweet dream, dream, because baby, you're the best that I can be." So he is optimistic in this song. It is a change of pace, obviously, from Looking for You. And the song really works well, and it has some great feel to it. The last song on the album is called Past Like a Mask. Past Like a Mask. And this is a soul Rodney Crowell composition. It is kind of a big build-up to the song. It has a almost grand feel that you would have for something like the band. Um, it has great players on it as well, with Billy Joe Walker on electric guitar, Richard Bennett again acoustic guitar, the DX7 Yamaha DX7 played by Booker T. Jones, and an emulator also played by Randy McCormick, which is unusual in country music to hear it. Have an emulator played, and electric guitar by Kenny Greenberg, and Michael Rhodes on uh, bass with Larry London on drums, and harmony vocals by Dave Loggins. And it's just a great song about a man who's trying to move forward in his life and building fences and being a better person. The first verse reads, "I was told to be a man was building fences strong." Oh, that's actually the wrong song. We're talking about Pass Like a Mass. So let's go back to the no, that's actually it. Pass Like a Mass. I was told the man was building a fence is strong, keep a woman in her place, and she'll keep hanging on. Now I've grown to realize my life has been filled with lies. The thread that I've been hanging on has broken in her eyes. If I could let my heart be known despite all the walls so high, I might taste those bitter tears that I've never learned to cry. So that's a man of regret about how he acted in the past with his past loves, The chorus reads, "But I've got to pass like a mask, and I can see it in her face. The many years I can't erase, the broken heart I can't replace. In spite of how I try, I've got to pass like a mask, and I'm sure took my time to understand." So, regret, acknowledgement, and desire to move on are all reflected there in those lyrics. The album ends on that song. 10 songs, 10 great songs, great playing, great production by Booker T. Jones and Rodney Crowell. And like I mentioned, the album was not a huge hit by any stretch. It was his first album with Columbia, and he went on after this to have his biggest hit in his career and have really big hits after that. I mean, the next album he released after Street Language was Diamonds and Dirt, which won him a bunch of Grammys, which sold extremely well. Like I mentioned, his biggest album ever. The critics loved Diamonds and Dirt, but Diamonds and Dirt was also a return to Rodney Crowell's country roots, where he was writing more country type songs and the production was very country. This album, Street Language, was a step outside of his box and a bold career move by Rodney Crowell, and one that I'm glad he made. So he went from an album which was at, I'm not sure, what can I say this was, this made, Street Language was 177 on the Billboard Top 200, to an album which was number 8 on the country charts and also charted on the pop charts with Diamonds and Dirt. So if you haven't heard Street Language, seek it out. I saw Rodney Crowell, I think it was last November, for his latest album tour, and he was just as brilliant. I first saw Rodney Crowell back in 1986 at Blues Alley in Baltimore, Maryland, where he had the full band, which included Stuart Smith on electric guitar, Hank DeVito on pedal steel, Eddie Bear on drums, Michael Rode on bass, Rodney Crowell on guitar, obviously. And he was singing some of these songs from Street Language. He was wonderful then. He was wonderful when I saw him in 2025. So if you get a chance to see Rodney Crowell, see him. He's still producing new albums. Of course, he's remarried now, as Roseanne Cash is, but his work is fantastic. So that is it. That is episode number 11, the penultimate episode of season number 9 of Slang of Ages podcast. And I'll be back in 2 weeks with um, the finale of season 9. Like, share, and subscribe. Please go over to YouTube and like my page there and subscribe there as well. And check out slangofages.com regarding my first 2 books, as well as my upcoming book, which will be released when season 10 debuts. Again, thanks to my Patreon followers. Thanks to my executive producer, Cynthia Tom, Benicio Cifuentes, and Cheryl Frazier. And thank all of you, and I will see you soon. Take care.